Abstract classes also exist in Kotlin, which is basically, if you're familiar with the concept, is a class on which I cannot create an instance. So if we say, for example, stored entity here, I'm going to create an abstract class, stored entity. And now if I try and create an instance of this, well, stored entity, it's going to complain, obviously, saying that this is an abstract class, and in fact, there is no constructor either. What we can do, obviously, is create an inheritor from the abstract class. So let's go ahead and say, for instance, employee, that is a stored entity. And from here, now we can create an instance of employee. So you might wonder, okay, what is the purpose of this? Well, abstract classes differ from base classes in that I can actually have state like normal classes, but I can also have abstract members. So I can have a member, for instance, that is store, and I don't need to implement this. I only need to implement this in inherited classes. So in this case, I'm saying that my employee store function member is going to behave somewhat differently for each class that inherits from the stored entity. And I can not define an default implementation in the base class, and therefore have to override because there is no default implementation. It's going to vary for each particular case. So that's a perfect use for an abstract class. Now, not every member of an abstract class needs to actually be abstract. So for instance, as I mentioned, we can store state. So I can have is active and set that to a value. I can have a member function, for example, that is status that does have an implementation. So for instance, it's going to do return active to string. And as we can see again, I can access all of these. So I can do is active, etc., SE status, etc. So abstract classes provide us with default implementations if we so need, which we can then obviously, if they're open, we can override, as well as abstract members that if there is no default implementation, we can have each inherited class provide their own.